Mr. Ritesh.
Hi.
What's up, boss?
How are you, Noah?
How you doing?
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for coming, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Excited to be here.
I've been following you for a couple days.
Yeah.
And, I saw you an entrepreneur then.
Yep. So we have a couple different businesses, mostly in nightlife. So I've been in the nightlife industry here in Vancouver for 16 years.
16 years, eh?
Yeah, 16. I'm old. I look a little young, but I'm old. Mostly in the hip hop scene here in Vancouver. We run a couple of different nights. And then 4 years ago, we also started a South Asian brand called Club Mumbai. So we're running that for 4 years as well.
So like a clothes brand?
No, sorry, another nightlife company. So we do Indian parties. So playing like Punjabi music, Bollywood, that sort of thing.
Like for weddings or something?
No, just we have a weekly club night. Yeah, so once every Thursday, for the last 4 years, we've been running this thing called Club Mumbai. And we have anywhere from 600 to 800 South Asians come every single Thursday now. And when we started 4 years ago, we were barely getting 30 to 50.
Beautiful, man.
Yeah, so that's one. And then every Friday, Saturday, we run hip-hop nights at Cabana Lounge. So the VIP managed there. We have a team of 8 DJs and 7 promoters. So a little small team of 15 people that we promote all the hip-hop nights there. And then on Tuesdays, we also run a hip-hop Tuesday at Levels nightclub. So, yeah, pretty active in the scene.
So how did you, how did you start up, when is the moment where you saying,
Yeah.
you said hey, you know what?
So there are a couple of different things. When I was young, when I was 19 years old, back then it was still pretty hard to get into a nightclub. So I remember standing in line for almost 3 hours and still had to pay almost $50 to get into the club. And I was like, man, there's got to be a better way, right? And eventually I saw this ad on Craigslist, and it was like, do you have a lot of friends? Do you like to party? Do you want to get paid to party? And I was like, wow, that sounds sweet. So I applied, and
So they was looking for someone, the promoter.
some promoter, yeah.
Okay.
So I applied to it. I met this. Actually, he was actually a brown guy as
Did
well.
you have any experience before that, and you just said oh,
None.
let's do it?
But growing up, being in high school and in college, I always used to be involved in student council or the dance planning committees. I used to throw house parties myself as a kid. So I was always in my friends group. I was the organized one. So if people want to do something and no one really takes initiative until someone's like, hey man, we have to do this. Pick a date. Let's go out.
Right, okay.
So I was the guy who would always round everyone up and get everyone together. So anyways, I applied for the job, and I joined this small little company who was a sub promoter of a big nightclub. The club now is called Enzo, but 3 name changes ago it was called Plush. It's in Plaza of Nations on Pacific Boulevard there. It holds about 1,000 people. And so my very first night I worked for them, I brought 80 people.
The very first night.
Very first night, right? I brought 80 people. I would just gather all my friends. I'm like, you have to come. I'm promoting. Come make me look good. And the second week, I brought 80 people again. So the second week when I was working there, the owner of the club, he came up to me. He goes, hey, are you TUBBS? And I was like, yeah, that's my nickname, TUBBS. That's what I go by. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh, you're working for this so-and-so company. He's like, do you know that the company brought 100 people and you brought 80 of the 100 people? And I was like, oh, I didn't know that. I was like, I don't know what other people are doing, but I was just doing my best to hustle. And he goes, how much are they paying you? And I'm like, oh, they're paying me $1 per person. And I was like, in my day, I'm 19 years old. They give me $80,
Pretty good, eh?
some drink tickets. I was like, okay, this is a long time ago. So I was like, okay, that pays my gas and a drink for free, whatever. I'm good, right? So he was like, okay. He's like, come work directly for the club. I'll give you $3 per person. I was like, oh shit, that's $3. That's it. That's it. I started working for the club directly, and then slowly just started, getting to know other people in the industry. More nightclub GMs, owners, moved around, worked for lots of different clubs, had a couple of different teams that I worked with, and here we are, with the Cabana contract. We've now been at that club for 9 years, and so we've been running the hip hop program, and not a lot of promoter companies can stay at one club for that long. So so we're just very consistent, just trying to build it solidly, and just doing what we do best and fill the clubs.
That's beautiful. So tell me what happened then for COVID. When COVID happened, and
so
how did you manage to stay in business, because a lot of people that I interview for COVID
So COVID really did obviously shut down our business right away. I'd say nightlife and the other business that actually I used to be a travel agent too. So Both of those businesses took a huge hit during COVID. So we used to do this thing every night at 8 p.m. where one of our DJs would jump on our Instagram live and do a live DJ set just to kind of keep people engaged. And we did it every single night, just to kind of keep people engaged and just to kind of keep our crowd like relevant. And, we did that for the whole, first year, 2010 of COVID. But in 2021, the government came out with a rule that businesses that can offer food can stay in business. So we were one of the first nightclubs to open because I don't know if you've ever been to Cabana, but we actually probably have the most tables out of any other nightclub in Vancouver. We don't have a massive dance floor, but we pride ourselves on a lot of table service. So we have 22 tables.
Wow. Okay.
Most clubs have about 10 max, So what we started doing was if you buy 2 bottles, we'll give you a free pizza because we have Domino's across the street there.
Oh, so you can.
So we're like,
then you can work with them as well.
Yeah.
Right?
So we started working with Domino's, and we said, hey man, we're gonna be coming in every day. Keep this credit card on file. And what we started doing was if you buy 2 bottles and you book a table, then we'll come give you a large pizza on us. And we just started filling out the club that way because people who needed something to do. And like I said, a lot of other clubs, they couldn't offer that because they would then have to go buy furniture, fill up the dance floor. You couldn't have that much empty space. But for us, it was perfect. We had all the tables already built there. And so we were one of the first clubs, maybe 6 months before any other club opened, that were still providing DJ service and having nightlife open. And, it was more of loungy, not really clubby. Like, you couldn't really dance and mingle, but it was still, you could go out and hang out with your friends and do something different, right?
Especially during COVID, you want to go out, see people again.
Yeah, so we did that for almost 6 months to a year before they finally allowed dancing back. And then because we had already been running for so long, any of the new 19, 20-year-olds that didn't know anything about clubbing only heard of Cabana because we were the only ones open.
Oh, yeah.
So then we really hit the ground running. So it was great, yeah.
So you make some regular customer at the same
We
time.
did. And so then last year, which was 2022, was probably our biggest grossing revenue year that we've ever had because people came out the gates just hungry, ready to party, just riled up.
Because you guys still like serving food as well.
Yeah, because we were still serving food. And then eventually when we went back to full dance floor and stuff, it was harder to manage. Every now and then we'll do like a retro night where we'll do that, where we'll just drop some pizzas off at everyone's table and they'll laugh and it's a good memory or whatever because they were there before when we were doing it. But yeah, it's
So how did you stay like very positive and try to, because, a lot of business, closed down and.
Yeah. Well, I got to give,
you just.
Yeah. Well, I'm the VIP manager there, but I really got to give a lot of props to the owner, Dave. He's one of those people that's always willing to try new things and he doesn't get like scared or like I've had other club promoters tell me, oh, their owner was like, no, until everything's fully back, we can't try nothing. Like, we don't want to risk this. What if we lose money? But I really got to give Dave props because he was just like, well, we can't just sit on our thumbs. Like, we got to try something.
I agree.
And so he's like, we might lose money, but he goes, who knows, it might work and it might get our business back going. And his main thing was, it wasn't about creating a huge profit or anything. It was about keeping people employed, having all of us have someone work and keeping the ball rolling and staying relevant, which I think is the biggest thing, right? If you stay closed too long or if you stay quiet too long and you're not making any noise, then people forget about you.
That's right.
So great. Yeah, so that's how we could stay positive because our leader was good. Yeah.
That's cool. So, because we got like 2 promoters.
Yeah.
And they told me, the job was like pretty rough. It's pretty difficult to approach people.
Mm-hmm.
But I can see for you, it's very natural.
Well, I mean, I tell all our newer promoters now, like a promoter's job is 80% during the week. So a lot of people think promoter is
the week. I thought it was that would be from the week.
So a lot of people think like, oh, when you show up there, like that's when the promoter starts, making sure like everyone has fun, this and that. That's great. But honestly, during the week, if you're not messaging people, hitting up people, being like, hey, are you coming out this week? Finding out when your friends' birthdays are, trying to book those extra groups in. Guess what? On the day of, you can't go scrounging around trying to get people in the club. It's not going to happen. What I tell people, the other 20% of your job is once people are in the club, regardless, if you invited 100, only 10 people show up, go make sure those 10 people are having lots of fun.
Oh, so you keep taking care of them.
Just take care of them. Make sure it doesn't matter. Like I have a lot of promoters, they get down on themselves. They're like, oh, I invited so many people. No one really came. I only have 10 friends that are here. I go, man, go enjoy with them, right? Make sure they have a blast. So 1, they come back again. And then 2, they tell other people. Because if you sit around moping around and you're like sad and you're no fun yourself, they're not going to want to come back and party with you. So that's personally what I think. I also think like this new generation has it so much easy with the social media. Like you can now put up a post, hit up 1,000 people right away. They know you have an event going on. When I was 19, I was text messaging, not even WhatsApp, not even anything. Yeah, I was text messaging, calling people, hey, come out. And then not only would I have to do that, I would have to drive around and sell tickets. Like I was physically driving around selling tickets and then making a couple of bucks. Like nowadays, people have it so much more easier where you're literally sending a message, adding people either to a list or sending them an Eventbrite link where they're buying a ticket online, and it's done like that, So
yeah, sometimes when I walk in downtown on Granville, you will still see people
passing out passes.
Yeah, flyers and stuff.
Yeah, so that's a thing that we started again too, because no one had been doing it for a while, handing out like tickets on the street and all that, because there is a lot of foot traffic now that COVID is over. Vancouver's starting to get a lot of tourist people again. So those are the people we're trying to hit up, because people are new to the city. They don't know where to go. If you're someone that lives here or you're a regular, you probably have your favorite spots that you go to, a couple times a month or whatever. But for the people that are aimlessly just walking around trying to find somewhere, that's who we want to hit up with those tickets and stuff. Yeah.
So it's very natural for you with the positive energy that you bring. I can definitely, feel that.
You can feel it,
Yeah.
Well, we just try to make sure everyone has a good time, man. That's what it's about. So, and consistency, right? Like, there'll be good events, there'll be bad events all the time, but you just want to make sure, like I said, whoever is there, they have a good time, and then you just build from there. What did you do better? What can you do?
So let's say if you want to throw out a party, let's say at home.
Yeah.
From my personal, experience, just like a few weeks back, I was like, oh, I want to throw out a party.
Yeah.
And then I was texting, like many of my friends, but last freaking minutes.
Yeah.
Like last minute, like probably like 2 hours before.
Yeah.
So it was great.
Yeah.
But I just realized after that, I was like, a lot of people, they're saying like, I would love to, but I made plans.
Already. Yeah. This is the other thing in summertime. People are very, very busy. And the other thing with summer is people might think it is a big party season. It is generally, like, people have a lot more going on. But because the weather is so good, a lot of people are doing daytime things. So people start drinking early now. So they might not even make it till late. Like, they might be tired by 10 o'clock. The other thing is, like, Vancouver in general, or even, I guess, like, Lower Mainland, there's a lot of parks now that you can drink in. Parks, beaches, everything else, right? So if I'm someone that's been wearing shorts all day, I've been pounding 10 Coronas, do I really want to go put on pants and go to somebody's party or, like, go to a nightclub or something like that? So generally, in our business, summer is actually slower because not everybody wants to, like, get dressed up and go to a club, or they're already, like, blitzed.
Just want to chill.
They just want to chill, do something low-key. But in the fall, when things get colder and you can't just sit outside all day, then everybody's like, okay, what are we doing tonight? What are we doing? They start making proper plans and stuff. So our busiest season is actually September through December.
Okay. Yeah, I have a question. What is the reason of the South Asian community?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
why do we do that? Okay,
yeah.
So that's a very good question, because so with TUBBS Entertainment, so like I said, I've been doing it for 16 years myself, okay? And 6 years ago, one of my junior promoters, he was, like, better than the rest of them. He was the most involved. He was part of the reason our business did build-ups a lot, right? And he ended up buying into my business, and now he's my partner. Now his name is Jag. He's one of my partners. And one day on a Thursday, me and him went out just to go, have some drinks, pop around, see what the different clubs are doing. And we ended up going to 4 different Latino nights on this one Thursday. And he turned to me, because he's also Indian as well, and he turns to me and goes, "TUBBS, how is there 4 different Latino nights and us Indians don't have one single night? What is going on?" And I was like, I don't know. I never really thought about it. But me and him are both very, like, whitewashed. We're both born here. We don't really understand the music. So I said to him, I'm like, but what are we going to do? Like, we don't really know what to do with it. He's like, let's figure it out. We should be able to do one sort of Indian night, because he goes, our community probably would love it, right? And I go, yeah, that's a great idea. So then what we ended up doing was, I had a friend from college. His name is Andrew. Him and his partner, TBM, they own a Indian record label called Hustle Records.
okay.
And I was like, I know a buddy from college. Let me call him up, right? So we pitched it to him.
So now there was a long time you never reach out for...
Well, we kind of have mutual friends. We see each other at functions, all this. But we've always talked about, like, hey, we should do some business together. We'll figure it out, whatever. And so once Jag put this in my mind, we called them for a meeting, and the 4 of us sat down. I said, hey, how about we start an Indian club night? You guys take care of the DJs, the music, be the faces.
Oh, because they have the source. Okay.
They have the sources, right? You guys be the faces as well. Because with our TUBBS entertainment brand, it was very hip hop oriented. I don't want to confuse people. So I said, we'll create a new brand. We called it Club Mumbai, and we made them the faces. And even for the first year, me and Jag didn't even tell anyone we were involved. We just said like, oh, we're supporting our friends at this new club night. Like,
so no one know.
No one even knew. But what we told these guys is, you guys control the music, the DJs, the pretty much the entertainment aspect, and we'll handle the business aspect, because they don't know anything about clubbing, how to make money in it. So I said, I run the front door. I'll do the contract.
The artists, they know which music they're gonna play.
Exactly. So we ran the contracts with the clubs. I said, I'll make sure everybody gets paid. Like, this is how we'll collaborate on it. So we started that 4 years ago. We just had our 4-year anniversary, and like tomorrow, we're actually doing one of our biggest concerts we've ever done. It's a South Asian artist. Her name is Miss Pooja. She has 1.9 million followers on Instagram.
Wow.
And she probably has at least 100 like top hits. Like she's old school. And like most of her crowd coming out tomorrow is going to be like 30 plus, because like she's just like a legendary actor or whatever. Okay. Yeah. So anyways, yeah, we've been doing great, man.
So it's because like you try to go out many times. Then you went. They were like Latino club.
Yeah. Like, so we've seen that there have been Indian nights before in the city, but maybe on a long weekend, maybe once a month. There was never anything consistent. So we really said like, hey, we want to start something that's going to be once a week. And I'll be honest with you, it was very hard to get it going. We took it to maybe 6, maybe 7 different clubs. Nobody wanted to do a weekly.
But how come? Because like there's a very big South Asian community.
There is, but we're also perceived as being more rowdy. Right? So whenever you think of like South Asian, especially the younger generation, you think, oh, are they going to get over intoxicated? Are they going to get into fights? This and that. Now, the thing is, knock on wood, we've actually been pretty good, because we're, filtering out that sort of a crowd. Even at our own nights, we only allow guest list if you bring a mixed group. So you have to have men and women in your group. If you are just men, then you have to wait. If there's space, we'll let you in a little bit later. But that's the way we can kind of mediate the ratio, mediate who we let in, kind of avoid that rowdiness, because if you come in with 10 of your guy friends, you're going to be jumping around being rowdy. But you come in with some ladies, you're going to be a little bit more somber, a little bit more like polite, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So
you're going to behave better.
You're going to behave better, right? And I even tell some of the guys, I'm like, I don't care if you bring your sister or your cousin. Like, just bring some females. We'll get you in right away. You guys enjoy that. But I know that if you bring your sister, you'll be better behaved than if you come with your boys, right?
That's true.
So that's how you kind of avoid those things. But yeah, so we saw a need in the market where we said, hey, there's nowhere that is allowing this every single week. Like I said, we went to 7 different clubs maybe. And then finally we had one club, a tiny little club in Gastown that said, and it was owned by Blueprint at the time. Blueprint is obviously one of the biggest, entertainment companies in the city. And they said, okay, we're going to take a chance on you guys. We're going to give you 8 weeks. If this isn't profitable or we see it's too much trouble, then we're going to scrap the whole program. We said, cool, give us 8.
So what was the, why all those
the hurdle
club and they were like, no, we don't want to do that.
Well, some people,
they like the community, so they can spend the money.
Well, well, that's true. Like Indian community, they do spend a lot of money. Like even the hip hop nights we do at Cabana, I would say 50% of our tables are South Asian, because they're the ones spending all the money. But like I said, it's more so clubs have this perception that it's going to be a lot of trouble. It's not worth the hassle. Sure, they'll spend more money, but what if they get into fights and all this other stuff, right? And because maybe the people that have been running the once a month, that's what they've noticed from those crowds.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
But we've never ran it, and I had really good credibility with the person that was the manager there at the time. And he said, hey man, I know you, I trust you, don't fuck this up for me. So he gave us the opportunity and got the okay from the big bosses to allow us to do it for 8 weeks. And you know what happened? Within the 2-3 months that we were there in the beginning, our Thursday night was actually generating more revenue for them in liquor sales than some of their Friday nights and some of their Saturday nights. So then they were like, okay, this is a hit, let's keep it. Okay. And then we stayed with that club probably about a year until COVID hit. And then when COVID hit, then we had to shut down for about 6 months or so. But because we had done so well there, Levels nightclub, which is a much bigger venue than that one was, they started doing similar to what Cabana did, where they did the seated, serve some food, maybe about 3 or 4 months after we started it. And they said, hey, why don't you bring your Indian night to our club? And then we were able to move into a much bigger space and kind of build from there. And we've been there for 3 years now.
Nice, man.
So, yeah.
So it's growing. So what's the future now?
So
how do you see the future? Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a couple of things like the capacity at Levels is already about 1,000 people, maybe 800 to 1,000 max. We're already doing about 750 to 800 maximum there anyways. The goal is either next summer to do our own like festival, like have our own like South Asian festival, like outdoor festival, and or eventually open up our own space where we can actually play Indian music maybe 3-4 nights a week, because even within Indian music there are different genres. Like Bollywood is more of like an R&B style. Punjabi Bhangra music can be more of like rap or a little bit more rowdy and that sort of music. And then of course there's like South Indian music, which is like Tamil music and stuff. There's so many different versions. So if we had our own club, then we can have a different night for each genre. So something like that. That's kind of the dream. But let's see.
Yeah.
It's very hard to get a new club going in Vancouver because so much red tape and restrictions, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, like right now
and there's a limitation with the license as well.
So with the licensing right now in Vancouver, how it works is you cannot actually apply for a new liquor primary permit. You can get a lounge license, which means you have to serve food, but you can't get a liquor only permit right now in Vancouver. You have to buy it from an existing one. Okay. So if someone already
you have to buy it
from someone that owns one already. So, and most of them are making good money, so they're not going to sell it. Okay, so that's
they want to sell it. I guess they're going to overprice it.
Oh yeah, the last club that just got sold, I think they sold for about $900K. That's just for a piece of paper saying that you can sell booze here. You're still paying your lease, which may be $40 to $50K a month. You're still paying all your overhead. You don't own nothing except that piece of paper.
So how do you approach, like for you, how do you approach artists? Because, like I consider myself as an artist. It's pretty difficult. Sometimes we are on our world, we just want to do music.
Yeah.
Some they just want to dance.
Yeah.
How do you approach then?
So it really depends, right? So it comes from a couple of different angles. So one, like I said, we were working with Hustle Records. So they already had a plug with a lot of the South Asian artists that we could tap into, and they start bringing their local guys, and as people heard about us, they start chatting with each other. So for example, like, do you know Tesher?
Yeah.
Tesher. So we've done a couple of things with Tesher here in Vancouver, and the last time I saw him, he's like, hey man, I was in UK, and Ezu, this other artist in UK, was telling me, hey, when you go to Van, you gotta see TUBBS. And Tesher was like, I already know TUBBS. And they started talking. I was like, wow. I'm like, that's crazy that you guys are chatting about a guy here in Vancouver, myself, talking about you should do a show with him. And they're already, and that's how those between guys like that have sent us other business, being like, hey, if you go to Vancouver, these are the guys you want to do shows with because they're very professional. Shows went great. They're always sold out, blah, 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 blah.
So a lot of networking
like that. So, and that only happened because TBM and Andrew, who own Hustle Records, kind of were in that circle already. So then we start doing 1 or 2 shows, and then people start talking about, hey, it went really, really well. And now we can do these type of like big profile artists like the one we have tomorrow. She's never done a club show in Vancouver in her life. She's done club shows in UK, in the US, but never in Vancouver because no one's been able to, facilitate having such a big artist here. Or she's always been nervous about who to work with, but because she's gotten feedback from all these other people, she's like, okay, great, I'm comfortable to work with these guys.
Got it.
Right? In the hip-hop space, it's a little bit different. Like myself, like we may not have those type of plugs, but there are lots of agents that curate these shows, right? So what happens is agents know when artists are going to be coming to a particular city, and then they let all the main promoters in that city know, hey, so-and-so is coming. Okay, start the bidding at this much. So who wants to pick up the show? So then you have myself, maybe a couple of other promoters. They'll be, okay, I'll give you 11K, I'll give you 12K, blah, 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 blah. If the date works for me or whatever.
Like an auction style.
Almost an auction style, but it depends. Like if you're really good friends with the agent or whoever, they may give it to you first before putting on the free market. And if you're both happy with the rate, guess what? No one ever hears about it.
Okay. Yeah, that's why you need to, be very good with everyone.
Yeah. You can't be burning bridges and stuff. You have, this is a long-term game, and I tell people about that all the time, where like you gotta put your personal and ego aside in this business, because at the end of the day, it is business. And if you think, okay, whatever, this guy screwed me over, and I don't want to work with him again, blah blah blah. Next time when he has a bigger act or a bigger show that you really want, guess what? You might not get it. So you really have to put that personal shit aside. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, man.
Well, Mr. Tubbs, that was a pleasure.
Yeah, awesome.
was
Thank you
great.
for having me, man. Hopefully that was insightful.
Yeah, I mean,
Hopefully your
like,
audience
because
likes it.
Pepper, like, she introduced us.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's pretty good in the
Yeah, perfect.
on the networking as well.
She's great at networking, honestly. Like,
So how did you get her then?
so she is actually a family friend of mine, and she used to be on a radio station herself. So when she noticed that I was doing all these, nightlife stuff, this and that, she's like, I got to get you on our show. You got to talk about it. So that's how we connected for the first time. Ever since then, I've been introducing her to a lot of like my DJs and other people we work with, and we've been getting on there. And she's been so great as bringing us like extra exposure for all of our nights. Like even at the Indian nightclub we do, she's introduced us now to this couple that does 360. What do you call it?
Oh,
photo
yeah,
booth.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, photo booth and stuff. So now we're working with them because she's like, hey, like you guys should work with these people. I'm like, oh, great, come on
Are
in.
you talking about the two guys, the two young guys?
No. So this is like a 360 photo booth. I think
Yeah.
it's actually a husband and wife
Okay.
that she introduced me to. And they're now going to be bringing in their photo booth into our club, and it's fruitful for both of us because they'll generate some revenue. It helps us add more value to our club night. It all helps everybody.
Yeah.
So yeah, cool, man. Pleasure, brother.
That was great.
Thank you, man.
Thank you so much
Thanks for having me.